Hey, what's going on? I want to do a quick talk while the 4-year-old is down for a nap and the 9 and 12-year-old are sufficiently doing homework independently. It'll last for about 3 minutes. So, a quick little video to talk about overtraining. I've seen some of this starting to pop up with some of my athletes that obviously, we're doing in Tulsa, Texas, and the events are coming up in the near future, and unfortunately, those events are not here anymore. So they kind of are in a spot of they've got all this volume built up, and they don't want to lose the fitness. So they've kind of taken a pause on maybe necessarily one-on-one coaching. But I see them out there doing a lot of work, and now I'm starting to see a few of them pop up with injuries. I'm not going to name names. If you think it's you can assume that and maybe take this advice. If you're perfectly fine, you're just doing your volume and having a good time, then it's not meant for you. But you do need to be careful of overtraining, especially during these times. I mean, it can happen normal times, when you're just doing your normal training for any races. You got to make sure that you're paying attention to the signs. Are you getting chronic fatigue? Are you tired all the time? You're not recovering whatsoever. You don't feel any fresh whatsoever in the morning. If you're irritable all the time. I know it's right now, with COVID-19 floating around, it's kind of hard if you're working from home with the kids all day long. It's kind of hard not to be irritable. Trust me, I was there yesterday. I've been there several times. But if you just find yourself very much more irritable than usual, if you're constantly tired, if your body, your muscles are actually getting sore and painful all the time, you're just not feeling any better all the time. If you can't sleep, having trouble sleeping, regardless, and this could be regular, normal training situations, that could be signs that you're doing too much. You're doing too much training, either too much volume, too much intensity. You're not allowing yourself to recover. You're not doing the proper recovery things. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not eating right. There's a myriad of things, but I just want you to realize that if you're you're doing your full Ironman training and all of a sudden it got postponed or whatever, and you're still doing 7,500-mile rides every weekend, and just because you want to keep the volume and fitness up, there are ways to do that. Make sure you're planning your training smart. You can retain your fitness and just maybe back down the volume and intensity. But I just want to caution people out there because I've seen athletes start to do it right now. Especially if you're doing Ironman Tulsa and it got postponed to 2021, and you pick up Ironman Wisconsin that's in September. Now, if you're going to keep your volume and training intensity and load and workload until you run into Ironman Wisconsin, you're going to run into problems. You're going to get injured. You're going to get hurt. So, hey, Mark, how's it going? So, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that you need to back off possibly volume. Maybe you can keep some intensity. You can still keep a good VO2. You can still keep a good FTP. You can still keep a good 5K split. You got to be smart. You got to make sure that you're still getting your proper rest, recovery. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're getting your sleep. Making sure you're doing your foam rolling. Making sure you're doing everything else. Even though you may be working from home all day and maybe you actually have a little bit more time because you're not doing that commute. It's not time to go out there and hammer more miles. It's time to make sure you're doing it smart. I'm doing a little bit more load than usual, but I'm doing one day a week is a hard bike and a hard run. The next day is a super easy day. The next day is a little bit more higher intensity bike, but not as high and hard as Tuesday. But Thursday is a little bit more, and then Friday is just I'll do my long runs on Friday because I can mix it up, and then Saturday is kind of a long bike ride, very easy. Sunday another long 2 hour or something like that in the morning. So it's just make sure you're building in your plan. If you are just kind of winging it at this point, build in recovery days like you normally would. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself, because I hate to see people overtrain. If you're going to do an event later in the year and you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to tweak a muscle, and you're going to totally derail yourself and get super unmotivated. So know the signs. Getting excessively tired, excessively fatigued, your muscles are hurting, you're not sleeping well. Just step back and look at your training plan and make sure it's planned out properly, to make sure that you're doing things smart as far as recovery and getting sleep and rest. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself. The old saying is, put your mask on first to get air so you can help others. Make sure you're taking care of yourself so you can help others as well. So that's kind of maybe a little bit more long-winded than I planned on. The kids aren't breaking stuff inside, so I figure I can keep talking. But just make sure you're being aware that if you're getting into a situation where you're being overtrained, if you find yourself running out of steam and feeling run down, maybe you need to step back and look at your training to say, my event is this far off, or even if you're in regular training, you could still overtrain yourself. So make sure you have a smart plan, know the signs, know when you need to back off, and know when you need to either take a day off or put in some very easy light days, and then just get back on track. So it can be easily fixed, but you need to know what's going on before you start getting too far down the road and you can get injured. So don't do that. Don't get injured, because that could totally derail it. You can take rest days and still be okay. Take a day or two off, you'll still be fine. So if you got any questions, put them in the comments. If you are one of my athletes and you've got questions about your plan, I should have covered you already, but then let me know. And Mark is, the only thing that's killing me is these VR races. They're so short, and I'm going to hard for some reason, end up hurting and kicking myself. Yeah, so I did that last Friday. I did my long run in the morning and kind of a early morning. I break it up into different events. And then in the afternoon, I did the VR race, and I can't really, my treadmill sucks. So I ran kind of at a speed that would give me a good pace. It's weird. I up the pace on the treadmill, and it actually goes slower on my watch, which totally is opposite and sucks. So I couldn't really overrun it because I was home with the kids, so I couldn't go outside. I mean, I could have ran with them, but it wouldn't have been pretty. And then I went pretty hard on the bike, and then finished up the run on the treadmill, and my legs kind of felt it. It was a nice burn. But yeah, so if you're doing those VR races and you're doing them as an actual race, you need to build in your training to account for that. And then what's your longest training run on 70.3 race from Eduardo? Art, hopefully I said that right. For 70.3 race, if you're kind of a beginner and you don't want to overload yourself, I would look for, a 70.3 beginner level. I like to see at least a half marathon run, maybe 4 or 5 weeks before your race. So you get that long run, do a transition week, do some race prep weeks where you're kind of tapering down. If you're an advanced athlete, maybe a 15, 16 miler, if you've got that background built up, you can do a little bit longer before the race. And especially that's kind of the step of an advanced athlete who wants to do better times. As you're out there, you're kind of overtraining for the distance, but you're doing it smart with a smart plan. You're not just overloading yourself and running yourself and being overtrained. So hopefully that answers your question, Eduardo. And like I said, if you got any other comments, put them on or any other questions, put them in the comments after I stop the video. But the key is especially in these kind of questionable times, if you're out there and your race is like Ironman Texas, you don't know what's going on with that one. It could be postponed until later. It could be wrapped up with Waco. Who knows? But you can find a nice, I've developed like a 6-week plan for Training Peaks to keep the FTP, the VO2 up, keep your run fitness good. But there's a lot less volume to it. So over 6 weeks, you should be able to roll into, even if they announce it and you have to kind of cut that short and then roll back into your Texas plan, or Des Moines. So yeah, for my Des Moines athletes and for myself, I'll probably look, probably like a 15, 60 mile or be my longest run. I'm 50 miles a week isn't that different for me. But if you're a beginner type athlete, I'd look for a 13.1 mile run, just to, on a bigger week. That'd be the longest run I would see, maybe 3 to 4 weeks out from race day, and then you taper down from there. But yeah, just be aware if you're overtraining. If you are getting sore, you're getting injured, you're feeling down, you're constantly running around, you're fatigued, make sure that you're kind of stopping, take an assessment where you're at, look at your plan. If you don't have a plan, if you're kind of wondering, where should I go, what should I do, send me a message. I've plenty of my athletes, one-on-one athletes, bi-monthly athletes, people adjusting to plans with me. We've gone back and redone everything, just because this is totally never seen before. And even if you got your race is like 70.3 Memphis or it's Ironman Chattanooga, and that was your plan anyway, but you're kind of like, well, I've got no swimming going on. In my 6-week plan I put on Training Peaks, I've got dry land swim workout, so I'm doing that with my kids this afternoon. They come out here and they do a workout from the school gave them, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my swim bands. So I've published all those on my YouTube channel, so search it up, or if you want to know where that's at, I can put the link in there. But like I said, just these over these kind of periods where you don't know what's going on, if you kind of lost and you want some direction so you don't end up hurting yourself, let me know. But if you're got your race and you're still planning for it and you don't know what to do to substitute swims now, let me know. I can help you out with that. Or if you're doing Chattanooga's 140.6 in September and you're kind of like, well, I didn't really have a plan anyway, let me know. I've got developed plans just for that race. I do personalized one-on-one plans. I just don't want to see people get hurt. I want to see people enjoy the race. I want to see you cross that finish line with a smile on your face. And if something happens to the races, if something goofy happens for 2020 and everything is pushed to 2021, I'm taking care of people, especially if you write training piece plans or you can reapply them to your schedule later. I can work with you. I'm going to develop a off-season plan so you can apply that and just carry it over. So I'm making sure that people have covered because, like I said, I don't want to see people kind of lost in space and then try to develop some sort of hodgepodge plan and hopefully try to keep their fitness, or I don't even see people revert back to kind of base training of just zone 2 training. It has its place, but there's still ways you can increase your fitness, your FTP, your VO2, and all that good stuff. You can work on that stuff and raise that up without doing injury, without getting burnout. So if you've got any questions, like I said, as always, put them in the comments. And this actually lasted a little bit longer than I planned on because people asked questions this time. So, and the kids haven't torn up the house. They look like they're still doing homework, so I don't want to interrupt that. Oh. Well, these race cancellations, I'm going to start working on my biceps. See, true story. I've done more strength training now than I ever have in the past, and not to brag or anything, but the guns are looking pretty big. My wife actually said, "It's like, wow, you're actually putting on muscle that you don't usually have before." So that's right, Eduardo. It's we're all going to come out of here on the other end even more intimidated by all the other buff athletes out there at race day because doing all this strength training at home with the kids and stuff. We are all going to be some buff-looking triathletes. So I like the way you think, Eduardo. But I think for right now, I want to check on the kids, make sure they're not tearing the place apart. Like I said, if you got any questions, hit them in the comments, subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch the Facebook group and the Facebook page. And I'm always posting Facebook Lives and stuff. So we'll talk to you later.